I'm Todi Gabor, the creator of Hexpanse. Hexpanse is a brand new game of Korona games where you command 4 different factions to conquer a far distant planet. You take on the role of interstellar faction warlord that fight for various planets. During the game, battle is played out which can be won by building the formation that is needed to capture the planet, or having the only warlord on the board after all the enemy warlords are defeated. In the game, you find several types of formation. In the beginning of the game, you select one of them. The first player who can build the formation is won the game. At the beginning of the game, the first player selects one of the warlords. Now the first player selects the Siberian Collective, and the second player selects the Terran Empire. The third selects the Union of the Trade Worlds. After the warlord selection, the players select a minor faction. There are several types of minor faction in the game. Now, the third player chooses first. The third player chooses the Xeilatu body hunters. The second players selected Duval's cavalry, and the first player selected the last, and he selected Lee's platoons. After this phase, the players select randomly a formation card. And now the game can begin. At the beginning of the game, every player starts with a warlord with 6 life force. The game board. The board changes based on the number of players. One side of the board is used for 2 to 3 players and the other side for 4 players. Players can board for 2 players. Players can only place units on the normal transparent territories. Board for 3 to 4 players. Player can place units on the shade territories on the edge as well. And for 4 players, there is a different type of planet. This is for free-for-all games. As you can see, there is a special type of territory with this X. This is the Hexilium. Players obtain Hexilium if they place or move their unit or warlord there. The overview of a turn. The player takes turns in sequential order until one of them wins the game. A player's turn consists 3 phases: income, action, and market phase. Income phase. During the income phase, the player gains income. He or she increases their Hexilium reserve with the current income level. This is the current income level, and here you can increase your Hexilium. Action phase. During the action phase, the player may execute 2 actions, even the same ones, in any arbitrary order. The following actions may be chosen. Place a unit on an empty territory on the board. Replace a unit back to the reserve. This is the reserve. Attack. An own unit may be removed, a unit from an adjacent territory, or deal 1 damage to an adjacent warlord. In exchange, the unit is removed from the board. The 2 unit goes to the reserve or recovery ship. A warlord may remove a unit from an adjacent territory or deal 1 damage to an adjacent warlord. In exchange, the warlord takes 1 damage. Move a unit from the recovery ship to the reserve. A player may take a unit from the recovery ship and put it back on their reserve. Mercenaries cannot be taken back. They are removed from the game permanently. And this is how the Siberian collective recovered their unit. Play an action card. A player for one action can play an action card. He can select one of the card's ability and he can execute it. Play a mercenary on the board or activate a mercenary card that is on the board. For an action, the player can put the mercenary onto the board. And for another action, the player can execute the mercenary's ability. A player for an action can gain 1 hexilium. Increase your income by 1. You have to pay the price of the next income level. For example, you have to pay 2 to level from level 1 to 2 and pay 3 to level from 2 to 3. The maximum level of income is 4. The Warlord's actions. Also the Warlord has actions. Heal your Warlord for 1. Your Warlord life force increased by 1. Move your Warlord to an adjacent territory. Your Warlord takes 1 damage for the movement. Use your Warlord's special ability. Your Warlord takes 1 damage for using the ability. Every Warlord and every Mimer faction has different abilities. The Terror Empire's ability. You may place your unit on an occupied position next to the Warlord. The enemy unit formerly in that position sent to the recovery ship. The mercenary is removed from the game. After this, the Terran Warlord takes the damage. The Siberian Collective. You may place 2 units next to the Warlord, as seen in the picture, for an action and taking 1 damage on the Warlord. The Union of the Trader Worlds. You receive 2 hexilium for an action and taking 1 damage on the Warlord. Interstellar Nomads. Interstellar Nomads. His ability, you may exchange 2 units, or you can move a unit on an empty territory for an action by dealing 1 damage on the Warlord. Market phase. This phase comes after the action phase. During the market phase, the player can buy cards from the market. You may choose from the 5 cards on the market. Any number of cards can be bought if the player has necessary currency. Important, cards are always placed facing up in front of the players so other players can see what they have. New cards will be replaced on the market after this phase, in order to fill the market up to exactly 5 cards again. If the player finished the 3 phase of their turn, then the player to the left takes their turn. Card abilities. 2 types of cards can be bought, mercenary and action cards. The mercenaries are characters that can be hired by purchasing cards. The tokens with the pictures are placed on the empty tokens of the faction that purchased them. The token is placed on the board when the card is activated. So, the player can activate for 1 action in the next turn and take it on the board, the character. All mercenaries can use their abilities when coming into play. However, mercenaries with orange recycle signs may reuse their ability. Important. If a mercenary is removed from the board, the corresponding card be discarded. Action cards may be played only once. After that they are discarded. The system detailed explanation and card description can be seen in the appendix. The informations of the cards. In the upper left corner there is the cost of the card. Under that you can see the type of the card. This is an action card. And here you can see the ability of the card. The character or mercenary card is mostly the same. Here is the cost, here is the type, and here is the ability. Every action card has 2 ability. Every character card has 1 ability. Chain reactions. Chain reactions. It may occur during the game that an action card or mercenary ability brings another card or unique mercenary into play that also executes a command. In this case, the abilities are executed in a chain with a single action. Therefore, a chain reaction counts as a single special action, the smart use of which can easily decide the outcome of the game. The different abilities are executed one after the other. The effects of the first card must be fully completed. Then you can continue with the effects of the next card. For example, the Siberian player plays a card, the Apache dropship. With this action, the player puts 2 normal units on the board and the special unit, Struga the Scout. And after that, Struga the Scout uses his ability and he puts into play the Westwood character on the board.